Okay, so let's see what they're up to. Okay, I won't bother pronouncing the explorer names, just because I'd never learned German in my life. Like it's a 100 wood start for Sue, which means that Iroquois also got a 100 wood start. Trevor is going for a dock. Okay, very interesting. Bee Fisher flashbacks coming in. Most likely this dock is going to be used to build fishing boats, train fishing boats, and that's going to supplement his early game economy. You can see all the villagers are going onto wood. He's got a longhouse going up, Knuschelbär is, and obviously give him the population space to make more villagers as well as make fishing boats from the dock. I think that's a pretty good strategy for this map, given that there is a water aspect to be looking at. And then, well, I mean, you start with sheep as well, so you can eat those to make your age up faster, things like that. Have a look at the treasures. 80 food, 100 XP. 100 XP is of course going to help Knuschelbär get his first shipment in ASAP. You can see that it is mostly a standard shipment, 3 vills. The only things in there which are geared towards water will be water dance as well as 4 war canoes. Um, Just going to take this treasure here, which is going to be a stray dog I need to rescue. Knuschelbär, no stranger to helping out animals in need, but looks like Lucas L99 with his respectable explorer name will be trying to steal this treasure. Of course, neither of these civs have the crack shop option, but they do have the convert option. I do believe that Lucas did convert an alligator. Nowhere near here, and Knuschelbär are going to be able to pick that up quite safely. War dog. What's the name of the war dog? Polo. Yeah, I can pronounce that. 75 wood, going to be going up to Lucas L99. Of course, he's going to be much too fast for Knuschelbär to come in. I won't talk too much about this matchup just yet, because it's Sioux against Iroquois, and to be honest, I'm not really too informed about what people say is the favored matchup. But whenever I choose Sioux, my opponent tends to pick Iroquois, so I would suspect that Iroquois is meant to be a counter civ to Sioux, but we shall see. See, there was a TP here, giving that small buff to gathering. And any coin here, posturing around the map. Just turn on the fog, which I should have done a long time ago. There we go. See that the only one on water is Knuschelbär. He's got 4 fishing boats, and I should probably move this over here. I don't have the donation bar set up. My apologies. But, well, maybe at some time in the future I'll be able to set that up. I don't even have the donation bar widget. So if anyone donates, just say that you have our thanks, and I'm sure that they can replay your donation thing later on and say, hey, thanks for donating. This AIZ guy did not have the thing up, but they'll probably acknowledge your donation somehow. I'll see if I can get that set up later on, because I kind of forgot that. Okay, so what else is going on? Aging with the wise woman and the chief. Okay, so the wise woman for Lucas L99, he did age up with 15 villagers, as standard for Sioux. Explorer just standing around here. We're just going back to maybe you start gathering whatever resources pop out, except it is a wise woman, so actually not entirely sure what that gives. It does not seem like it's a fast age up, so it will probably be like, Lucas age up with the chief. So the chief does give 400 wood, as you can see right there, where the wise woman is going to be Knuschelbär, which I believe actually does give you the crates as well. So both not going for. Okay, well, as I say that, Lucas is going to be setting up a war hut over here, which could be a bit dangerous for Knuschelbär if his Travois doesn't get enough time to set up building. Or is he probably going to be going for Ceylon bow or war clubs. It might be war clubs. but at the same time, Knuschelbär, being the Iroquois civilization, does have this falconet, sorry, war chief with a falconet-like ability. Just gonna tab out for a quick while. Okay, sounds Gucci. Very good. Got seven more cups coming in very fast, and unfortunately he's going to be too slow to actually do any damage because Knuschelbär has smartly put his war hut behind this coin mine. So look at him just get that shot off. Boom. Falconet easy. So these aren't actually going to be able to do very much. But at the same time, you do see that Knuschelbär is he's playing defensively. He's got like 8 of these fishing boats up. Lucas kind of knows something may be up, so he's scouting the water, and he is probably going to take out this dock. So have a look at Lucas' deck. Nothing in terms of water cards. So actually, the only way you can contest water is by sieging this down. And if you will have to invest at least 300 resources into a dock and a canoe if you want to contest water. So these are actually free to gather for as long as this dock stays. Sorry, for as long as this. Yeah, pretty much for I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but they're pretty much free to gather for as long as Lucas does not get dock up. And as I say that, he did actually get a dock. He's starting to get a dock up. He must have gathered for that using villagers. Yeah. No 700 wood crate is the point I'm trying to make. So he's making wood heavy units, and he's also getting a dock up. So probably the 400 wood from his age up did contribute to that somewhat. Okay, one more shot going in, and so hyenas and tomahawks. I see a small little engagement going in here. We'll see if they commit. Looks like it's going to be Luke is going in with the Axe Riders, just trying to do something, but at the same time, you look at the military unit population, it's kind of even, and that's not really something you want to have when you're pushing in. At the same time, these two Axe Riders are pretty full HP at the moment. Iroquois War Chief smartly going back here. Just keeping him alive. Certain Bull's actually doing quite a lot of DPS. But there's a Carl here. If there's units in queue, have a look at that. You got one Kanya horseman in queue. I would like to see him put some fills in TC just to kill this explorer, because that's 300 XP. Yep. So doing the smart thing there. Vils in the explorer Vils in TC, kill the explorer. Everything okay for Kanya, and there's not much anti-cav. Okay, there's 7 clubs. Okay, going back. See, the military unit, economic unit population is quite in favor of Knuschelbär, and you see one canoe in queue, and that is going to actually, put quite a dent in Knuschelbär's eco. You see one canoe very smart, and going in here. Knuschelbär does not have any Age 2 water cards, as you can see from this. He's only got water dance and Age 4 cards, so this is actually going to, well, as I say that, Lucas is scouting, trying to find Knuschelbär's fishing boats. Now, where could they be? Where could they be? Where could they be? It's just like a secret fishing location, as you can see. Army here not doing very much. Let's have a look at how the hunts are faring. Lots of dead sweet hunts. I might have to say 700 wood coming in. You see, 5 Vils has come in for Knuschelbär quite a while ago, whereas Lucas does still have his 5 Vil option available to him. And of course this canoe, and only one canoe actually being used here. What I'd like to see is this canoe kind of, a second canoe would go in actually. I'd rather have a second canoe come in rather than this extra war club over here, because then you can kind of like use one canoe to DPS down one of the fishing boats, where the other canoe kind of attacks the other fishing boats in turn. Anyway, we see a fight coming in here. Nice TP over here, giving that small HP boost. Villager going down, very interesting. Alright, well, looks like Knuschelbär is going to be forced to retreat here. He doesn't have enough to kind of contest this, especially the TP around here, and the Iroquois Explorer down, which is quite a huge advantage for Sioux fighting this spot. Trying his best to kind of kill the dog soldiers. And Cav. Nope. Looks like Knuschelbär is still going to be forced to go back. He still does have that 10 villager population lead, and that's because there's still only one canoe here just attacking the fishing boats. If I was Knuschelbär here, I'd probably kind of spread out the fishing boats a bit more than that, so this solo canoe doesn't do very much I mean, it's not as easy to retask onto fishing boats. If you just task onto one fishing boat and all the fishing boats in the same place, easy raiding. Anyway, more clubs coming in. More clubs. So have a look at the military units. 9 Aena, 5 of those. Obviously, Lucas in quite the big military unit population lead here. Villagers going in, going to get raided here. Not much cav though, so Aena plus these Kanya horsemen plus this war chief, which has been danced back. Going to be able to force these units away. Very good. And the last final fishing boat does go down. You can see that now. Villager population is quite even. Taking into consideration the fact that Lucas has still yet to send his 5 villagers card, which Sue does get on EP. 5 idle tomahawks here. Okay, gonna go back. He's dancing for the war chief here. I assume he's going to put that onto war dance pretty soon. Yeah, war dance coming in. Lucas does not have a fire pit, so everything here is going to be okay. Defender's advantage. Kanya horsemen coming in. Villagers, I kind of see tanking a bit. You can see, and more of these coming in as well. More tomahawks, and well, Knuschelbär is going to hold. I like to see Lucas actually making some fishing boats now that he's actually got water control. War clubs, more coming in. I think Knuschelbär has held, and he didn't even have to put village in the TC. In terms of hunts, he's still got plenty of hunts left, so that's not going to be an issue. Luke's as well kind of spreading over, like moving over to the right hand side of here. Once this hunt runs out, he's going to be forced to move up here and here. I guess that shouldn't be a problem because he has water control, and neither of these civs have caravels. Usually when you have hunts near to the water, it's an issue the other opponent has caravels because it can kill villagers pretty fast. Now Lucas is kind of scouting around with his canoe now that he's identified that all the fishing boats in this area are dead. Going around, yeah, he's trying to find the last fishing boat. There is no last fishing boat, so I'd say, but he can just like shift click this around, which he's not doing. At least fish. Canoes can fish. That's okay. Boat riders coming out. So the first boat riders coming out, and first Kanya horsemen walking to their doom here. The previous Kanya horsemen did not walk to the doom, so this is the first few batch which did. Way too few units to be pushing in here as Knuschelbär. I'm not sure why he was thinking there. Boat riders coming in. You can see that in terms of upgrades, Knuschelbär is starting to slowly sneak in the infantry upgrades, whether that's virtue of by how he's kind of used up all his other H2 shipments. Yeah, he's kind of used up most of the other H2 shipments, and he's trying to sneak those in, okay, never mind. Kanya horsemen just running around here. The canoe here is still scouting for other fishing boats to hunt. I'd rather he be hunting these fish and the humpback whale. Should probably be making some fishing boats as well to supplement his economy, but at the same time he doesn't have many villages on wood anymore, so perhaps not. Ceylon bow, another fight coming in here. Nice big shot, just taking out one unit straight away, but at the same time losing the explorer. He's going to have to dance that back. Sioux War Chief still down. Respectable Sioux War Chief still down. Villager is going to be going down, at least just one villager going down, because Knuschelbär did actually evacuate his villagers. Let's see what's going on the other side of the map. Just villagers starting to hunt in all the tertiary hunts. Pretty standard. Nothing in the sense of multiple things going on. Fights have been going on in this location, but no real small raids going in elsewhere. And Knuschelbär kind of not pushing out, even though he's got the Kanya horsemen, possibly because there's bow riders, and if you send out cav to kind of raid, then they're probably going to get caught. None of these villagers have the great coats upgrade thing. And another fight coming in, and He's targeting down the war chief, which is going to go down. You can see that, you know, population is quite in favor of Lucas now, the Sioux player. Units coming in, more units coming in from the side. Reinforcements, 3 sets and bows on the way. And looks like Knuschelbär, despite actually being quite down at the start of the fight, is going to be able to hold somehow, possibly by virtue of, you know, how these cards are pretty much these infantry units are pretty much half veteran status at the moment. Nicely focusing down this bow rider to Satan with his Aena and Seton bows, you know, doing what Seton bows do best. These bow riders aren't going to be able to do very much anymore, but at the same time you can see that recalculated economic unit population is as a result of 1, losing all these fishing boats, and 2, you know, losing a few villagers here, and 3, you know, Lucas finally sending his 5-vil card. You can see that it's now in favor of Lucas L99, and in general the game now is quite in favor of Lucas. You can see 92 score against 78 score. That's a 14 score difference. War Chief being danced back, Falconet being danced back, and it's going to help if he doesn't actually forget that he has tasked it to this location. Going in my X-Riders, and bow riders, they are double carded as well, so that's going to counteract the double carded infantry over here on this side. See, Knuschelbär being a team player is going to be split up, 1 kind of horseman to kind of raid a villager. And you see the units lost. Units lost are, you know, 8 villagers lost. It's quite telling here. 8 villagers lost, 9 fishing boats lost. Economically, Lucas has done quite a bit of damage to Knuschelbär, and it's going to do a bit more damage here as well. Lone Kanya horsemen doing a few raids here, but as mentioned before, there are bow riders out there to stop them. And it's looking quite dire for Knuschelbär. See if we can pop out any units, but only 5 tomahawks in queue. And well, 5 tomahawks in queue. Anything else in queue? There's a war hut in queue, interesting enough. Okay, there's a war hut over there, which is going to kind of help secure the sea a bit. 600 wood has come in, but I don't think he's going to be able to gather much here. He is still dancing on the fire pit, presumably for the war chief, but these villagers are going to go down. Sweden villagers DPSing everything over here. Bow riders coming in to kind of not raid the villagers and just go in this way. Fine. Possibly he just selected all the bow riders on this side and went to the right. So it looks like Knuschelbär is going to be able to get this war hut up by virtue of Lucas not actually noticing these villagers. And now there's 11 villagers in this DC. It is probably going to go down, and 15 bison coming in. Very interesting. Okay. Well, looks like Knuschelbär is going to resign, and Lucas takes game number 1 in this best of something series. Best of something series. I will figure that out in a while. I do believe it's probably a best of 7, but I'm not entirely sure. But either way, well played to Lucas. Villager population, you can see that, you know, Knuschelbär did invest quite a lot into the fishing boats, 5 vills first as well, very greedy build, but somehow he wasn't really able to hold. Plus he ended up pushing out with, I think, too few units to actually push out. You want to push out into FB, especially a forward base which has TP and these 2 military units, and you probably want to have like a decisive advantage. Plus being Iroquois, your army is not quite as mobile as Sioux's army, so Sioux can decide when and where to take fights more. The villager population, military population, you can see there's a very bad fight for Knuschelbär in the early stages of the game. That was probably at the war hut, and all resources gathered. That was quite telling. Okay, so well played to Lucas, and we'll go into the game number 2 in this best of 7 series between Knuschelbär and Lucas L99. So I do believe the victor here, Lucas L99, does not get to choose a map. This is a Stay-at-Home Cup. Therefore, Knuschelbär will be choosing his map now. I shall paste them here. Okay. And now Lucas is going to have to change his civ because he has won with this Sioux, and I do believe that once you have won with one civilization, you are going to have to change that. Probably. Nobody has notified me of any issues, so I think things should be alright here. Got Japanese, and it looks like Knuschelbär is opting to stay as Iroquois against the Japanese. Ooh, okay. I shall pick a different civilization because I should not be biased here. I'm choosing Brits. My use of Iroquois was completely coincidental. Okay, so going into game number 2, you have Knuschelbär against Lucas L99, and this time something is different. The colors have switched, and this is actually a bigger factor than many might think, because Knuschelbär is green is going to be Knuschelbär is green. Last time he was blue, and that was not Knuschelbär in green. So that's a very important point to note. Having a look at the hunts and the map, I think it's kind of looking pretty well, 3-3. Yeah, I suppose it's okay in the end. Gold mines. Yeah, if I were to rehost this, I would say I would rehost because of hunts, but at the same time these are 2 deer hunt within relatively close locations. 3-3. Okay, maybe the deer hunt is a bit far, but other than that, I mean this deer hunt's a bit far, but other than that I think, yeah, that seems really fair. Okay, we'll have I'll look at what people are scouting at the moment. You see that Japan is split of his explorers going to be taking out this. Okay, so early dot coming in again. Trying to take out this treasure guardian over here. Get the pineapples with 100 food. Pineapples, of course, being very delicious, nutritious. Gonna be able to help the Japanese player age up a bit faster, make villager, whatever he wants to do with that. In the meantime, Knuschelbär gonna pick up some coin, rather chocolate worth 100 coin. Just cutting around. You do have sheep on this map. There's only 1 sheep at the moment. Look at well, 10 villagers or 10 villagers for each. No shrine up just yet, which may be a bit of an oversight from Lucas. I'm not sure how long it'll take for the next village to pop out, but I think he should be able to get up his shrine with no idle time. See that he gathered enough from this coin crate to kind of get his first tier gathering upgrade Hanami parties. Alternatively, another way to have done things is to have also gathered coin crate, continue to gather coin crate, and put some villagers on coin and kind of trade at the market for another 100 wood, and then he would get a second shrine up. But looks like he's not going to be doing that here. Just going to be doing market upgrade, stop at that. Cherry orchards and relatively safe locations. 2 fishing routes out again for Knuschelbär. Lucas. Knuschelbär coming out with 3 villagers. Shipment sent. Nothing unordinary here. But what's going to be interesting is what Lucas sends first. 300 wood and heavenly kami. So it's going to be one of those 2. It's going to be 300 wood. So possibly aggressive. We shall see. That remains to be seen. Look, it's going to get a native scout as well. Going to be helping out with kind of scouting what Iroquois is up to. And villagers, we know. Let's probably move this over here. Even though we've got nothing over in the center well, just know that this is a Stay-at-Home Cup, and your donations will be appreciated. All right. Imagine there's a donation bar over here. Now, Knuschelbär moving around with the Explorer. Uh, Similarly, just Explorer is moving around. If you look at the treasures, you got Knuschelbär 100 coin, 100 food. Sorry, Knuschelbär 100 coin, 90 coin, 40 coin. All coin treasures, in fact. And in fact, if you look at his coins got stockpiled, you can see that he's actually played this pretty smart in that he's used the market to trade the coin for wood and used that wood to train fishing boats, which is very well done by him. And of course, this being a longhouse does give him 15 population space, which means that unlike some other civilizations, he could continue making those fishing boats without having to chop for another house. So he did age up with the fast politician, which you kind of have to do if you're doing this kind of strat. And moving this forward, going to be building a war hut over here, and the scout from Lucas is going to be seeing that. Let's say, okay, what a surprise! There's a Trevor moving up to build a war hut. Wonder going to be the Toshogu Shrine, and it's going to be a consulate using the 300 wood to get the consulate, which will probably be used to either train clubs or train shinobi. We'll have to see. Shrine count, if you have a look at that, 3 shrines. Okay, so pretty low shrine count. Knuschelbär, 5 villagers. There's a bit of a different deck from the one before in that it's got 3 Buccaneer Pirates and 5 Renegade of Friends, possibly picked according to the civ he's up against. Going to be doing some damage on the monks, and Knuschelbär with this will have seen that a few things. One thing is that the Japanese explorers are still in base, which means that he's not shrining, so doing some sort of aggressive build. And 2, he'll have seen, there's a consulate here, and yeah, so he'll know that these are coming out. This one attacked the Consul Yamabushi, which was in cover mode, I think, potentially. I'm not really sure, but going out, trying to kill the Iroquois explorer, and not going to be around here in time. So it's going to be Yumi plus Consul Yamabushi. Second, so both monks going down, which is quite a big XP swing, as well as denying that RNG lucky strike from happening. So as things stand at the moment, things are looking pretty good for Knuschelbär. He's up in both military unit population and economic unit population, and you have to consider that Japan has not actually gone for any eco bill whatsoever by any stretch. Naginata riders coming in, but there are also kind of horsemen to kind of tank against the Minutemen coming in, which are probably going to be able to kill at least 1 or 2 of these kind of horsemen, if not all of them actually. All kind of horsemen coming down. Do we have any more anti-cav coming in? No more anti-cav coming in. So what's Knuschelbär going to do? Going to escape with as many of his Ayena as possible. He did kind of drag box these 2 and 3 and 4 Ayena, possibly trying to pull trick them, but that has ended up actually making him lose up all of his Ayena. So not such a good decision over there. Could probably possibly have escaped with those 2 Ayena. Well, it is what it is, and he's going to be waiting in base. He is still up in recalculate economic population, still has all these fishing boats around, and you can see that Lucas L99 has been forced to kind of commit to Naginata and Yumi Archer, even sending 5/5 Yumi, whereas Knuschelbär has been able to actually send 5 villagers first and then send in all these military shipments. So all in all, the score is kind of telling. Knuschelbär is up by 10 score. Not hurting too well on this side over here, but that should be alright because Japan really isn't in any position to do push out, and plus normally when you make cav you have the leeway to kind of move around and raid with them, but as Japan you kind of need all your cav to be in base to defend at this point in time. Plus these Naginata riders, being Naginata riders, are kind of half lancers, and you can see they kind of only got 29 attack, which means they're not as great as raiding compared to other cav units. Boom, shot going off. You've got a few tomahawks here. Second set of Minutemen being called. Knuschelbär did lose his Iroquois Explorer, so he's going to have to move back there. Does not have that 10% HP boost going very many more. Fishing boats still on 9, so I think that's probably the sweet spot for Knuschelbär. He's kind of stopping at 9 fishing boats and letting them pay off from there, which is probably a good idea. When you boom with fishing boats, you kind of want to stop at some point, I would say, especially if you're doing a rush like this, because you're doing a rush and at the same time you keep on training 70 wood units, which take a while to pay off, then your production of military units is going to be somewhat affected. Going back in again, the one good thing that Lucas does have going for him is that there are no real exposed shrines. So he has been smart in building them here. He's got one sheep there which isn't gathering. Another fight coming in here, and I'm going to just nicely down, just DPSing down that one low HP Naginata, and one villager going down. My second one might go down. 2 villagers going down. So Lucas being a bit sloppy here. There is a forward gold mine. There's one more over here. I suppose there's one other thing with... Okay, never mind. Focus on the fight here. Tomahawks being the front, just denying these Naginata riders any chance of attacking. So those regulars were up for quite a while, but it looks like Knuschelbär did eventually retasked some units onto those. Tomahawks and melee, and they're actually going to do pretty well against these archers, acting to snare them, acting like pikemen to snare these, except they're not pikemen because they have axes. And then these just DPSing down the units which are trying to escape. And 29 military unit population versus 7, and that's more villagers almost going down. That's quite in favor of Knuschelbär at this point in time. Villagers trying to run off. One of them does though go down. More Nagi, Yumi, Naga, Yumi. More Nagi and Yumi just being pumped up, but he doesn't really have the eco to sustain the constant production of 5+5 batches of those two. It's also, an artifact of how he hasn't really been shrine booming. He's gone in for this build perhaps to hold, either to hold or kind of be aggressive, and he wasn't really able to do either very effectively. Market going down, and this means that he won't really be able to trade. You see, he's actually almost popped. He's at 59 versus 6 population, so if he does want to get a sizable force out, he's also going to have to invest into 3 samurai coming out. He's also going to have to invest into more shrines. He doesn't have the leeway to do that at the moment. I think this might be a kind of a last-ditch effort because there are a lot of Yumi and not enough anti-cav here. So Knuschelbär moving in, and GG being called, and Knuschelbär taking the win in game number 2 as the green Knuschelbär, as Iroquois against Japan. So 1-1, pretty close series and quite a relatively short game, I would say. One thing I would say that Lucas could have done better is that as a defensive player and as well as a player making Yumi, he could have walled a bit. Because, okay, his building placement is quite good, but there were a few gaps. Especially if you have Cav coming in, and then as Japan, you kind of want to exploit the fact that Cav don't really path very well in Age of Empires 3. Yeah, so, But I think one of the big factors in this game, he's even up to 11 fishing boats now. One of the big factors in this game is that Knuschelbär was able to get so many coin treasures at the start of the game. They weren't wood treasures. They weren't wood treasures, but they were coin treasures which you could use to trade at his market, and I think possibly get out either 2 or 3 extra fishing boats than he would have normally been able to get out. So that was quite a good adaptation by him. Have a quick look at the graphs. Villager population, military unit population. You can see villager population way ahead by Knuschelbär for the whole of the game, and this wouldn't get balanced out by shrines either, because Lucas did send 300 wood and commit to that kind of consulate build. Villager unit population. First fight you know, this is actually a pretty good fight for Knuschelbär, I would say, because Japan went for the all-in kind of not aggression build, but military unit build as compared to shrines and all that, and it was still an even trade. So at the end of that, you know, Lucas was not able to catch up in eco, was not able to defend well enough, and ended up with the game being won by Knuschelbär, the green Knuschelbär. So, going into game number 3 now. This is the ESOC Stay-at-Home Cup, where of course the special rules are that the loser gets to pick, the loser after each game gets to pick what map they want to use. Again, I will have to caution everyone that if you have donated, thank you for your donation. Obviously, I don't have the full setup running at the moment, so there is no donation popping up saying Zuta has donated 50 subs or whatever it is, 500. But just be aware that your donations are appreciated and they will go towards good cause, I believe. So looks like Manchuria is going to be picked here. Lucas going for sorry, I do believe that because Knuschelbär won the earlier game, he had to pick first, his civ first, and Lucas picked the map. So it looks like Lucas going in with China against France in this map. Okay. Now this is a pretty good China map in that there's a lot of yaks, so that may be why Lucas has opted to go for China on this map. We do have the green Knuschelbär against the orange Lucas L19, and now we're actually starting to get into, you know, the serious side of things, because now both of these players have the color they're most familiar with. You know, civs are one thing, but colors are you know, there's several layers to, you know, being in the zone, and now they're kind of in their respective colors as well as their chosen civs. So things are about to get serious here. Lucas gathering up the crates, wood crate, food crate. It was a 200 wood start, which means that it was a 100 wood start for France. Not being able to go early TP. I'll turn on the fog for a while, and see that Lucas not really splitting up his units, possibly just trying to, you know, okay, now he's splitting up. I think he should technically have been splitting them up from the start, trying to find the yaks as well as all the wood treasures. Explorer's going to be, you know, taking one yak each and going back, you know, well, peacetime for now. We'll see what happens in another 4 minutes or so. Lucas being able to pick up these yaks and possibly this third. Nope, not going to be able to pick up that yak. It's just sneaking by. Lucas going back there. Yeah, have a look at the yak count, which is very important. 4 yaks versus 4 yaks, so still both quite even, despite France having this extra native scout with speed. You can see that Knuschelbär also kind of using his yaks to scout a bit, while Lucas is just going straight to the village to get them fatten ASAP. Kind of expected. It's China. Now it's fully stocked with livestock. Tianyuan. So going around here, trying to see if there's any wood treasures. No real wood treasures gathered yet. Knuschelbär has got the 40 wood treasure. He did not go for an early market. Looks like he's just going to be aging up as fast as possible. Not bothering to chop for a market or anything like that. Lucas over here, scouting this thing over here. 65 coin treasure. Maybe he'll steal it, maybe he won't. Either way, Knuschelbär with the scout still actively looking around, looking for yaks. And we have a look at the fog. There's still three yaks on Lucas' side, and see Knuschelbär did not suspect at all that Lucas would be in a Turk position to steal his treasure ASAP. But Lucas has been there, and Lucas has managed to steal the 65 coin, which won't be of immediate use to him because 65 coin does not help when you don't have a market up, and you can't really use it in Age 1 as China 2 very much. But Lucas did actually chop for second village, which means that his first have a look at the shipment sent. His first shipment is going to be northern refugees, which will give him his 3 villagers from that. Nothing too weird coming out from Lucas. Knuschelbär aging up with the quartermasters. Nothing too unusual there either. Perhaps one small weird thing for Lucas is that he's quite far away from aging up at this point in time. Hopefully he kills some of these goats or something, but who knows? Because he did actually have to chop for the full 180 wood, because there's two things to consider here. He started with 200 wood, and he started with 200 wood. He did not get any wood treasures as far as I'm aware. Nope, no wood treasures whatsoever. And he had to gather for 190 wood plus. Sorry, he had to gather for 180 wood, because each of these on EP, each of these villagers, EP8 at least, each of these villagers costs 180 wood. Sorry, 190 wood. Get my numbers mixed up a bit here. Lucas L99 just cover moding over here, just going to prolong his stay here near the tiger. He might or might not be training. No, he's not training any disciples or anything. Only now starting to age up at 4 minutes into the game, so this is kind of looking dubious. He does have his villagers. He's probably been on constant villager production. But we'll see. Looks like it's going to be some kind of Age 2 build though. Perhaps trying to deny the TP over here, but he's not going to be able to do it because he is kind of 1 age behind. TP is definitely going to go up. And Lucas is only having 4 villagers on the Wonder, aging up, probably up very slowly, perhaps 5 minutes 30 into the game, who knows, possibly 5 minutes, 5:20 perhaps. We'll just move that to recalculated. Should have done that quite a while ago. Is he going to get a TP with this? Judging from the path of the Explorer, he is going to be trying to use that 200 wood to get a TP. Now, it's hard to say whether he's going to commit to Age 2 play, do some sort of semi or something. See that Knuschelbär does have the barracks up, did have musketeers in queue, and probably going to be used to kind of do some sort of musketeer semi-FF. So ultimately, Lucas L99 not aging as slowly as I would have thought. Did manage to get a kind of respectable, semi-respectable age up time of 5 minutes 20. Not some weird wicked Cossack 7-minute age up or anything like that. And he did still have all his yaks fattening. They are kind of fattening, not so fast in EP, because on EP compared to RE, the fattening rate has been reduced. All in all, nothing that weird from Knuschelbär. He did get all his. He only got steel traps, nothing else. It's just going to be a straight FF from Lucas actually. 5 musketeer bats now coming out. And this might be, well, you know, all the hunts stay under his TC, and the musketeers are not actually going to the TC, they're going over to the trading post here. What I would expect here is possibly Knuschelbär is going to kind of delay his age up and try to get all 3 TPs as well as get stagecoach. As I say that, these 6 musketeers kind of moving over to the right hand side. I'm not sure why that's 6 musketeers. I suppose the second batch was probably just 3 musketeers or something like that. 6 musketeers coming in, not going to be able to one-shot a villager, even though these don't have the equivalent greatcoat. You need 7 musketeers to one-shot a villager, so this is not going to be enough to deal an efficient amount of damage. It is going to be enough to kind of force the villagers to, you know, dance around the village in the TC, but it's not. I would have rather preferred maybe just like 4 villagers to go. Sorry, 4 musketeers to go in here, and the rest of musketeers just go in there and seize the trading post. Not that there were many musketeers to begin with. Because with 4 musketeers, they can 2-shot bills. More musketeers being coming in from Knuschelbär. He will very likely send 700 coin next, judging from his macro. He's kind of hard stopped getting coin. Here comes the 700 coin. The stable coming up. Looks it is going up with the porcelain tower and the consulate coming up as well. So pretty standard China build. Consulate, War Academy, market coming up. Musketeers finally coming in to seize the trading post. Honestly, I believe the correct decision would have been to start sieging this a long time ago, instead of going in with too few musketeers to do any real damage. But whatever it is, he's coming in now to start sieging the trading post. The first batch from the Summer Palace, the free batch from the Summer Palace, just come out. Did switch over to the standard army, which gives pikemen and Chukanu. One musketeer sitting here, already there to make Charles stand up. The real Charles standing up there. And trading post, Lucas probably not going to be able to save that. And a bit sloppy from Knuschelbär having his scout die over there. That's pretty important unit for France, because it essentially gives some degree of awareness. So you can see the Explorer is kind of positioned, wow, at 2 HP. He just about got 150 coin treasure. Okay, never mind. 1 musketeer, 2 musketeers going down, so pretty good control from Lucas being able to take out 2 musketeers without losing a single unit here. So one pikeman going out to rescue the Ziak from being run over by the stagecoach. Unfortunately, this game's not realistic enough to have that trade cart run over the yak and have horrifying noises made. But yeah, okay, so Redcoat's coming in. Intervention was the first card shipped. Nothing out of the ordinary for China so far. I do believe that this porcelain tower is on wood, yep, because that is going to be the most cost-effective way, most efficient way of using a porcelain tower, because in terms of village seconds, wood just gather the slowest. You can see veteran skirmishers, so it's going to be a skirm goon from Knuschelbär, unless there's 2 falconets coming in as well. You have a look at units lost. That's the first unit other than disciples being lost by Lucas here. What I want here, I want shipment sent. Okay. Let's have a look at what's going on in the water. Nothing at all. Okay. Just needed to check. Redcoats and Chukanu. You're going to be looking to go for a heavily, meteor hammers are going to be quite scary for Knuschelbär to deal with, but so long as he positions his army well, so he knows that the meteor hammers are coming in advance, he should be okay. If I were him now, I would kind of unpack this falconet straight away and run off, because these are just going to come in and DPS those falconets down. It looks like at least 1 falconet is going down, if not a second one. Look at the range on those meteor hammers, yeah. It was never going to end well with those falconets just standing in place, but military unit population is still quite even. The thing is that Knuschelbär has lost his falconets, which it's hard to say if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because now he does have the added mobility which he did not have before. At the same time, the falconets, if they're alive, could have supplemented his anti-skirm pikemen, skirm Changdao mass, arquebusier Changdao mass quite a lot. Supplemented his anti-arquebusier Changdao mass units. Now it is what it is. He's got more skirmishers coming in, doing some pretty decent micro, but yeah, see, you can see there's the 10 arquebusiers coming in, and no falconets left to kind of deter them. Military population is still in favor of Knuschelbär. He does have 3 cursors shipped, and see if there's any cursors in queue. Nope, still going for Dragoon Skirmisher. Nothing too weird. Okay, never mind. there were already 5 cursors out on the field, and there's not too much anti-cav. At the same time, the dragoons should probably stop sieging, or at least I guess they took out the trading post, so it's fine after all. See how diverse China's army is compared to France's. France being across the green Knuschelbär. Veteran skirmishers picking off a villager over there. Units in queue going to be more cav, and just getting Lucas getting enough export for the next batch of redcoats. Right now, the army is looking pretty in favor of Knuschelbär at this point in time. So it looks like okay. I suppose he did lose his falconets early on, but he did lose. But Lucas did also lose quite a few of these meteor hammers at that point in time. So somehow, as I say that, you know, Changdao coming out here, going to be supplementing the anti-cav. Nice splits from Knuschelbär, nice micro overall here. At the same time, all these melee units coming into range, coming into contact with cursors and whatever else was in the front lines, and Lucas actually going to be able to push Knuschelbär back. Dragoon's still alive, so these meteor hammers aren't going to be able to pursue very far. And Knuschelbär, in the midst of all this confusion, has managed to sneak in the trading post over here. So now he has 3 stagecoaches, 3 stagecoach TPs, and he is sneakily using his explorer to siege down this village, which is a pretty nice thing by him. So while the army is kind of doing all this other stuff over here, explorer is still sieging down that house, that village. Although Lucas not really in any danger of being capped because he does have 130 population space. And this really calculates economic population. While it does take into account the porcelain tower, it does not take into account these 3 DPs. So Lucas actually quite behind here in both eco and somewhat behind in military unit population at this point in time. So there's one arsenal coming up over here. Okay, so arsenal, cavalry cuirass, and any other shipments sent. So cav combat has come in. That's going to benefit all these cuirassiers, and it's going to be hand cavalry hit points coming in as well. And that's going to give these cuirassiers 625 HP, which is going to be quite difficult for China to deal with, because as China, you can't really commit to making one kind of unit. You can't really commit to making pure anti-cav unless you go for Keshik, ground pikemen, which is very unlikely in the 3rd age. So pure cuirassiers going to be quite hard to deal with, especially once they have all the upgrades coming in. As I say that, the Manchu do come in, and this is kind of China's best way of dealing with cuirassiers. There are enough skirmishers around here to kind of one-shot the Manchu. So although all the cuirassiers are going down, once, you know, half the Manchu is still alive, so that's something which is good for Lucas. You know, but once all these Manchu are dead, there's not really much of a follow-up for Lucas. He's kind of exhausted most of his big shipments here. In fact, all the big shipments are out of the picture, and he doesn't have a TP to supplement his XP income either. Once his army dies, he doesn't really have any follow-up. Still trickling in some units here, but I think there's way too many skirmishers, and Lucas, going to be forced to retreat here. 13 military unit population versus 31. And I was just kind of moving around, killing hunts here, not much else. Whereas these villagers on the right hand side finally now adding in a 2nd war academy, but I don't think it has the eco to actually support 2 war academies at this point in time. Well, he does have the correct number of villagers, but he doesn't have the correct he doesn't have any food income per se, because he's been pushed off these hunts. Only 3 villagers on food over here. Perhaps this is on food. No, it's still on wood, and he has to keep it on wood, in fact, if he wants to be able to build a village and, you know, get more prop space. So really not going to be having much of a food income for quite a while now. Going to be sneaking in these villagers over here, but unfortunately for him, there's going to be a house here which does give line of sight, and the CDP, the Corps de Bois, is going to scout this instantly. 5 cursors coming in to also, you know, spoil the party, ruin the fun. Village is going to go up, and House gonna see all these. House is gonna have line of sight all these cav coming in, and Chris is gonna be forced to move back. So somehow, you know, Lucas is 50 score behind, but he does still have a decent eco. 45 villages is still quite a decent amount. Okay, so Lucas, I did not really have a good look at the decks earlier, but you can see that he did still have 9 iron troops, which did help with the fact that he was out of food. We had plenty of coin left, so that's still going to help him quite a bit. And you can see the military population is now actually quite even now, which well done for Lucas to actually have that in deck, and what not so well done for him to be losing all these 3 villagers. Question mark, 3 question marks. I didn't look at the deck earlier for Knuschelbär, but this is it. I mean, nothing really out of the ordinary except for the 9 iron troops which came in. I think this house is going to go down, but not going to be too much of an issue for Knuschelbär. He does have 160 population spare. Sitting here, just taking out the iron troops one by one. The thing with having high resistance, high HP units is that they can be focused down quite easily without much micro. This coin mine also going to run out pretty soon. He has managed to kind of move back on the hunts now that Knuschelbär had to move away. House coming back up again, so Knuschelbär has kind of played this pretty well. With, you can see that he's kind of got a cordon around Lucas's base. Kind of see green, all this green stuff, not really letting Lucas push out, and no one actually going for water at this point in time. None of them really having a water-oriented deck. You know, fight going on. No real fight being forced just yet. If there is a player who can force a fight, it's going to be Lucas, but I'm not sure if he really wants to force a fight at this point in time. He doesn't really have enough of a mass to contest all these cuirassiers, plus these extra 5 cuirassiers coming in. They are now triple carded with cavalry cuirass, so quite a scary. You know, they're essentially age 4 at this point in time. Whereas Lucas's units, he's been forced to send all his unit shipments and no real upgrade cards, so they are still just standard upgrade. Some kiting going on, people moving up. As I say that, Lucas, you know, his first upgrade card coming in. Still hanging on. Through all that fighting, he was able to let his villagers gather here safely. Knuschelbär did not leave like maybe 1 or 2 cuirassiers on here to kind of deter villagers from gathering. Interesting that his choice of card was Territorial Army. Sorry, this Territorial Army Combat. With this many Iron Flails, Meteor Hammers, you would have expected to see the other card coming in. But anyway, we have a fight coming in here. And these cuirassiers just doing so well against everything here. We're just trying to tank here, but another 5 cuirassiers going to come into the back. And these are triple carded, as said before. Going to seal the deal. And yeah, with those Manchu down, China didn't really have much of an answer to these pretty much OP units, really. And Knuschelbär doing a good job of keeping Lucas in base, contained the whole while. See that all resources are out for both players, but the difference is that Knuschelbär has been able to be, you know, more out on the map, gathering the central coin mines and stuff like that. Whereas Lucas has kind of been, you know, cordoned off to his own base. Not much side raiding from Knuschelbär this game, which is a bit surprising. He did have line of sight of these villagers, he did have line of sight of these villagers, but I think everything was committed to kind of being in the fight and winning those fights decisively, which did win him the game in the end. Villager population, military unit population. So Knuschelbär did actually maintain a slight lead for most of the game, and in the end what won him the game was probably the fact that the Manchu were dead, and he did have cuirassiers for which China did not really have an adequate counter to. Okay, so that's next game, third game going to Knuschelbär. So yeah. ESO's down. Or perhaps ESO was down. Looks like it was down for about, it came back up around 7 minutes ago, so we had plenty of leeway. Okay, so going on to game number 4 in this best of 7 series. This is the ESOC Stay-at-Home Cup. Again, thank you to everyone who has donated. I did not have the donations thing set up, but rest assured that your donations, if they did occur, are going to a good cause, probably. And they will be acknowledged, but probably not by me, because I don't have the setup for that available at this point in time. Because Knuschelbär did win the game, Lucas does get to choose his civ, which is going to be unselected. So he's going to choose his map. His map is going to be unselected at this point in time. Still choosing which map it is. We can find out here. Still unselected. You have a look at the deck. So have a look at the maps. So Lucas down to Hudson Bay in Arkansas. Summer. Searching for the map. Hudson Bay Summer, unselected. Just waiting on... We will be going into game number 4 shortly. This is the ESOC Stay-at-Home Cup. Just a reminder that your donations, let me just read this out. This is for charity, or at least part of it is for charity. Basically, all Twitch sub and bit revenue will go to Sacred Heart's COVID-19 financial relief program. Unfortunately, I do not have the overlay thing popping up when you do donate or subscribe. But your donations are being counted, even if I'm not counting them at this point in time. So Knuschelbär figuring out finally how to get this map sorted out. And we shall see what Knuschelbär goes for. He has used Iroquois. He has one with France as well. So on this map, well, I don't know what we'll see. Who knows? Knuschelbär staying as green here. Lucas, well, mixing things up again. He's going to be using yellow. So Lucas is more diverse in terms of the colors chosen compared to Knuschelbär, it would seem. Waiting. I can see he's thinking. They're both thinking. It's hard to tell, I mean, this is an online tournament and not a LAN tournament. So if this was a LAN tournament, then maybe you'd be able to see these expressions change, But as it is, this is an online tournament, and so, they kind of look the same, so you can't tell what they're thinking at this point in time. Trying to mind game their opponent, rubbing their hands, scratching their heads, whatever. No, still the same old pose, and looks like they have come to a conclusion, or at least Knuschelbär has come to a conclusion. He's going to pick the Sioux civilization. Lucas staying as China, and it is within his rights to stay as China because he has not lost a game with China, so he has not won a game with China yet. Alright. So evidently Lucas thinking that this matchup is something he would prefer to play, or that he would be comfortable playing. So staying as China, picking yellow, greening up. Knuschelbär, going with the socialization. Green, not greening up. Knuschelbär is locked in Sue. Lucas, he was about ready to green up over there, but it looks like he may be changing his mind. We shall see. Okay, so Knuschelbär greening up. And Lucas can be fine with that. Actually, he's readying up as well. And this is a summer version, so no ice, no polar bears. Not sure there are no polar bears. So no big, treasure guardians to kind of convert. Although there are going to be some riflemen. Having a look at the mines. This one is looking a bit iffy for me. I'm just think about this. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Lucas is missing a mine here. Yeah, you see there's this mine here, and that's kind of the second mine, but this mine up top here. So the first rehost of this series. Right, so starting again, the matchup is going to be Knuschelbär Sue against Lucas L99 is China. Both of these being civs that each player does play quite often, so this should be a decent. I say the mines are quite even now. They're both missing the same amount of mines. Let's just put it that way. So this one seems okay. Knuschelbär, hunts, 2 hunts. That seems pretty much alright. Okay, we'll go with this. It looks like there are somehow polar bears on this map. Just, perhaps because of global warming, the polar ice caps are too warm for them, so they come here to chill out in Hudson Bay. Maybe it's a bit cooler here, who knows. I'll move this over to the left hand side, and villager, not sure this villager is going. It's kind of picking up this 30 coin treasure despite the monk moving out, so that's a kind of an unusual decision by Lucas L99 to have villager gathered up, even though it was kind of already en route. The monk was already en route to kind of pick that up. Whatever. See that now Lucas is splitting up his Chinese monk and disciple, trying to scout as much of the map as possible. Knuschelbär, pick up a polar bear, and the sheep as well. Polar bear's going to be scratching its hind legs over here. Just stopped exploring, just guarding, maybe admiring. Does he have sunglasses on? No, it doesn't have sunglasses on, it just looks like that because, polar bears are cool. 75 wood over here going to be quite useful for Lucas. He did have 300 wood start, so he did actually just chop for the village. Of course, if he had scouted this early on, then perhaps he wouldn't have to chop for the second village. But at least this is going to be able to perhaps let him get up a TP and transition a little bit faster, even if not directly contribute to him getting his next village up ASAP. Versus 75 food versus 75 wood. So 75 food can be able to help Knuschelbär age up a bit faster, because he did chop a bit for his trading post. Sheep. He's trying his best to hold on to the sheep. And if I were him, probably what I would do is I would use the... well, never mind. He's just given up on the sheep. Too bad. Polar bear being a bit sloppy over here with the polar bear. Should probably run off knowing that all these units are in this area. Looks to get the stun off, and in addition to actually killing a polar bear, he didn't get the 25 XP, which is going to be quite helpful. Perhaps not immediately, because he has probably already sent his first shipment, which is Northern Refugees, 3 villagers, because he did get 2 villagers up. Knuschelbär moving up here, going to get some of the brown bears. So, you know, polar bears, maybe doesn't like them too much. Maybe just want to put them out of their misery because they're kind of out of their natural habitat. Just let that one die, but he's going to get one of the brown bears. Grizzly bears. Fierce. Strong. Grizzly bears. Summer's not going to be hibernating. Anyway, Lucas L99 again get 90 food up, which is going to help with his age up, because he is slightly short of food, and once he gets that 90 food, he's going to be able to put down that likely Summer Palace ASAP. Slightly slow to react, but he did get that out with only 40 food past the mark. And looks like Knuschelbär can get a Guardian Grizzly Bear as well as a Honcho the Pet Grizzly, which is quite a bit better than Grizzly Bear. It's got 27 attack. It's almost like a Hussar. And it does get upgraded as you age up. See, typical Sioux, you know. Looks like Lucas did get that after all, but typical Sioux being, you know, halfway across the map over there and just running in and almost being able to steal treasure, but Lucas was able to get it in the end. But I do believe that the combination of this Honcho Grizzly and Sioux Exploit is going to be able to take out this monk, and which, in addition to being a 90 XP swing, it does mean that Lucas is not going to get his TP out. You can see he's actually been chopping for it. He's got 300 wooden bank, so this is quite a big blow to Lucas's his strat, because you really cannot afford to send villagers out to build a trading post, and this is going to force Lucas to actually play H2 for a little while, which may be a bit disadvantageous. No TP and having chopped all that wood and not being able to use it. He did use it on the market. Gonna have gotten a few market upgrades to get the first Hunting Eagles upgrade. Yeah, it's going for War Academy, so not be able to do any straight FF or anything. By virtue of having chopped all that wood and not being unable to pick a trading post. Iroquois Tomahawk. So small army here. Knuschelbär getting this bear and that bear. No more polar bears, sadly. So he would have had all types of bears, but polar bear just out of place in this habitat, you know, not its natural habitat, which is probably why we don't see it here anymore. See units in queue here. 9 pikemen coming out first. That's not going to be too useful against the Ceylon bows. Was potentially expecting 4. Oh, that village is going to go down. Black Bear and Ceylon bows, a bit sloppy from Lucas. Was potentially expecting 4 Axe Riders to come in or something. But looks like a Ceylon bows in the end, and these are going to be able to do quite a bit of damage here. More Ceylon bows coming in, and 4 Axe Riders as well. So Knuschelbär, by virtue of, you know, having gotten all those XP, he did get 135 XP and 90 XP from killing the Explorer as well. Getting all these back-to-back shipments soon after aging up, and plus he has gotten these 2 trading posts. So Um, kind of containing here. Oh, Concho just go down. Sad face. But, you know, at the same time, Hancho going down does mean that not so many Seaton Bows have gone down. Luke is going for the Kyang Pikeman and Chukunu combination, which may be a bit ill-equipped to deal with Seaton Bow and X Riders. Still quite a way before he has his next shipment on the way. So, well, pikemen are being used to snare a bit, but I'm not sure if he wants to be doing that, because once these pikemen go down, there's not going to be anything to do with all these X Riders. You can see that even though the military unit population is kind of even at this point in time, Lucas, despite having this defender's advantage, isn't really able to fight underneath his War Academy, because his pikemen aren't really accomplishing much. He shipped these pikemen. Yes, they are supposed to counter cav to villagers going down here. Not so on top of things at this point in time, Lucas is. But yeah, so these pikemen have been shipped, but they haven't really been able to kill any of these cavalry units. So at this point in time, being a bit of a liability, 3 have been popped out here. And okay, so Lucas, 7 of these step riders popping out and being able to kind of try and do some damage. But you can see that these pikemen not in the fight really. Having said that, it does look like you know, Lucas has managed to clean up. 23 military unit population versus 7 versus 5 versus 8, whatever. War clubs, and Lucas has been able to pop these 7 step riders and you know, clean up. So now it's up to him to kind of make something happen, because you don't just clean up the fight and then just sit in base. You want to kind of push the advantage, and which is what Lucas is going to be doing here. Knuschelbär did also kind of just place down a TP, perhaps to give him a bit of this defender's advantage. He is doing a stagecoach. So right now what's happened is that Knuschelbär kind of overcommitted there. He's very interesting 2 dog soldier shipment. You don't often see that in this kind of situation. So anyway, you see that Knuschelbär has kind of, you know, committed quite a lot of resources into infrastructure at this point in time. He just got the stagecoach, he just got a stable up. But the one good thing he does have going for him is that with the stable up, he can actually train a full batch of X Riders, and yeah, so Lucas kind of senses it. He's going back. He doesn't have enough anti-cav. He shipped 700 wood. He does have maybe 5 Clan pikemen, but it might not be enough. Whatever it is, looks like he is going to be building a trading post instead. Just going to be playing a bit safe here. I did manage to rescue his monk amid all of that while pushing out, and just going to ignore these X-Rider hits and just keep on building trading posts, because he does know that he has enough Chukunu and Kyang pikemen to not get caught up, by virtue of him, you know, being around the war hut and knowing exactly what units were out at that point in time. And I think he knows that given the small mass at that point in time, he wouldn't be expecting any big batch of 30 units or anything coming out. Trying to build this trading post, but will be denied by there already being a trading post. And I like what Knuschelbär is doing here. He's kind of identified that all these units are going down to siege this trading post. So in the midst of that, instead of letting your army be idle, yeah, why not just siege down the other trading posts at the same time? In fact, it looks like the trading post on the north side here is actually going to go down faster than the one in the southern half, because in spite of all these China units moving in a bit faster. Consulate going out, going to probably go into Brit Consulate soon, I would assume. Soon, very very soon. Popcat perhaps is focusing on getting out in the village. Nothing being researched at the consulate yet, but we can kind of assume that Brit Consulate is probably okay. So that's what he was waiting for. He was waiting for 300 export, and that's going to be a nice kind of boost. So once he researches, once he switches to whichever consulate is going to be, it is Brit Consulate, as you could briefly see over there. He's going to be able to get out 2 batches of musketeers, redcoats, and that's going to be quite scary for Sue to deal with. At the same time, though, Knuschelbär has been able to stabilize with his unit mass. He's got all these units around here. He's got 2 trading posts. Eco's quite even at this point in time, with Knuschelbär being slightly ahead, maybe 10 villages ahead actually, 9 villages ahead. But if you take into consideration the Summer Palace, maybe not so much, because the Summer Palace is actually producing units. I think Lux is looking to push in quite soon. He can't really force a fight because Sue does have the speed advantage, but what he can do is mass enough of an army to actually push in. Cap HP is starting to come in. Should have a look at the decks. Okay. I'll talk more about that later, but fight coming in here. Just making sure all the pikemen over here have to walk a lot. But even once the pikemen go down, I don't think there's going to be any problems with the anti-cav, because there are musketeers in the back still doing damage and will serve as anti-cav. Looks like Knuschelbär is staying here for a bit too long. I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe the pathing is getting messed up a bit. Overstayed is welcome there. He was fighting underneath the TP, but once his Ceylon bows were down, he probably should have run off a bit earlier than that. And I think that Lucas is in a decisive, military advantage lead here. He's still down on Eco Pop, but he has got a 40-ish score advantage. And continuing to push in here. And once he pushes past this FB forward base, these villagers are going to be a bit exposed. No new infrastructure on the way just yet. And Knuschelbär does not have wood to actually place down a second war hut. So he's kind of committing to trying to defend this position. And I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that. This is a very scary looking army for Lucas. And Lucas is also, well, he sent 700 coin, but he's not macro to age up or anything. He's running a bit slow on food. Jukunu moving in here, and all in all, things looking quite dire for Knuschelbär. He has revived his explorer using the fire pit. Axe Riders were trying to go for a raid, and they would have been successful. I think at this point in time he's identified that, yeah, he has to go back. And as mentioned before, he didn't have the wood to build any infrastructures at this point in time. Interestingly enough, he's trying to age, which is a bit of a gamble, but at this point in time, I don't think that he can actually win an age 2. He can't really remass. Going to be putting this on warriors. So Knuschelbär is going to be aging up here, which is an interesting decision. Lucas still massing units in age 2. Okay, so alright, fair enough. Not looking too good for Knuschelbär, but we'll see what his aging up can produce. These Keshiks have been hidden for quite a while, but now they're coming out to flaunt their excellence. Axe Riders running off. Villagers also being forced to retreat. So Knuschelbär is, aging up to 3rd age. He is in 3rd age now, and well, no shipment. So no shipment for Knuschelbär. Only now trying to build a war hut and a corral. Units in queue, nothing in queue actually at the moment. He's just going to be losing this as soon as, he doesn't even have the chance to actually build this. Last ditch effort perhaps to kind of buy a bit of time, but there's a lot of redcoats and carrying pikemen sieging down the TC. He did manage to kind of flank these Chukunu as they were coming in. Axe Riders being trained, but not going to be enough. TC going down, and Well played to Lucas, bringing the series up to 2-2. And if you have a look at the military unit population graph, you can see kind of from there where that all went wrong for Knuschelbär. So one fight over here did not go so well for him. This is when the 7-step popped out. Another fight over here is when he overstayed underneath the forward TP. I did mention this earlier about Su being a civ which practically gives you the freedom when you can choose your fights, and he kind of stayed in a fight which he didn't really need to stay in for that long. He had Cav left. Most of his army was in Cav. He could have moved back. Could have even run the Satan bows, because the Satan bows are actually faster than whatever else Lucas has as China, and there weren't even that many step in the fight either. So not running when he could have run really kind of cost Knuschelbär the game. He was still up in economic unit population. He was up in eco. He was kind of fairly even on military, but this one fight over here kind of swung the game. Another quick look at the graphs. And we're gearing up to have a pretty long series, it seems. Already 2-2 in a best of 7. Excuse me for a while because my throat's kind of dry. I'm going to have to get a drink. Okay, so looks like we'll be heading into a Aztec against okay, so it looks like Knuschelbär has actually chosen this map again. Rather, last time was Lucas choosing the map, and now Knuschelbär is choosing the map. So he's going to go with Hudson Bay. This is the ESOC Stay-at-Home Cup, which does have a few rules with regards to picking maps and civilizations and stuff like that. If people have been donating, my apologies. I don't have the thing set up to have the everything popping up. And I don't have the donation bar either. But one good thing about not having the donation bar is that I will not forget. I mean, it doesn't matter if I forget that this thing's here. Okay, so going into the game, we have Lucas L99 against Knuschelbär. This one's kind of hard to call. Japan does have a slightly closer gold mine there, but other than that, I think everything's fairly even, so we'll go with this. Okay, it is a 300 wood start here. We'll see what Knuschelbär decides to go with it. Is he going to go for a TP? Possibly, possibly not. I'm going to be coming across this 100 food treasure ASAP, which is going to be pretty big for Aztecs because they do have that convertibility. He's going to be able to convert this straight away and pick up Outlaw Rifleman, and that's going to be very useful with him, for him if he ever comes across these Japanese monks. Because Japanese monks can stun, but once their stun ability is used up, it is 40 damage a shot. So Japanese monks not going to be able to shrine as happily as they would like. 100 food being picked up with Knuschelbär and 90 coin being picked up for Lucas L99. So in terms of resource value, those are fairly even, but in terms of usefulness at this point in the game, definitely a lot better for Knuschelbär. That 90 coin is not going to be coming into play until Lucas at least gets a market up or reaches second age. So effectively he hasn't gathered any resource treasures at this point in time just yet. This comes across 75 wood treasure, which is going to be quite useful, and just by coming across this treasure, which will be helpful in securing a second Outlaw Rifleman if he so chooses. We have a look at this. This may be something big. Oh, okay, never mind. Does eventually notice that the warrior priest was not dancing, the villager was dancing there. So maybe a few seconds lost in terms of dancing time, maybe a few seconds lost in terms of gathering time, but he did get that 100 food treasure, which will kind of help mitigate the negative effect that has had. Turn on the fog for a while. You can see, well, not very much. I mean, obviously no one has scouted the water just yet, but from the explorer movement you would kind of know that they've kind of just been scouting each other's side of the map, nobody really bothering to go into the other side and try to steal treasure or anything, both being fairly passive with the explorer movements. And Knuschelbär, yep, he was about to DPS that down the explorer, but did eventually let his outlaw rifleman kill it instead, because as Aztecs you do you do manage to get the XP boost if any unit other than your explorer within range of your war chief, so any unit other than your war chief within range of your war chief kills a unit. Is going to be doing the same trick over here, getting some extra XP. We talk about shipments. You see Lucas L99 going the same build that we saw him go for in terms of what shipment he sends first. 300 wood here. And again, sending a villager to gather a coin treasure, which I'm not so sure about. I mean, to me there was no real immediate need to gather that up with the villager. Could have just poofed back one explorer after killing this treasure guardian here, and then get that later on, because there was no immediate threat of Knuschelbär coming in with the war chief and stealing it. So maybe about 10 food lost moving the villager forward and back, possibly even less. Not that big, but still something. Knuschelbär going for the TP, and it was a 300 wood start, so you know, that is something he can do. Toshogu Shrine versus the Shaman. So the Shaman is going to be the age up. I don't think they call politicians, are they, for native states, but whatever. Age up politician of choice for Knuschelbär, aging up with the Shaman. Market going down here. Aging, going to get more sheep over here. So he's got very interesting team of outlaw riflemen, +1 Cherokee riflemen, so big riflemen over here. going to be trying to deny the shrining, but unfortunately for him, Lucas has happily built all the shrines he has wanted to build, and that is going to be okay. Yeah, so this pet grizzly has been quite effective in DPSing down Trevor. You can see that a bit of an oversight in that this grizzly's attack against villagers has been reduced to times 0.1, but it hasn't been reduced versus a wagon, so that may be a potential balance issue. But I see here, it did take effect. It did influence the game slightly in that this Warhat was forced to build back here, and if he was a bit more proactive in moving his monks around to kind of deny the Warhat from having a safe location to build, it could have been quite a big swing. But regardless, I mean, Knuschelbär did have those outlaw riflemen, so they did come around in time. Consulate going up again. 600 wood. This time, Lucas did scout that Warhats were Warhat wagon, Warhat Trevor coming out, and forced Knuschelbär to not age up so fast, which did which did signify to him that he had a bit more time compared to the game earlier played against with his Iroquois civilization. He didn't have the ship 5 Yumi or anything to hold. He was perfectly safe to just send Stitcher Wood and spam from there. Just coming in, Knuschelbär coming in with the Puma Spearman. You're going to start sieging this down. One Cherokee kind of tanking a bit, and buying time you kind of siege down this shrine as well. I don't know if he has scouted this shrine down there, but this would be an easy pickup for him, at least compared to this shrine up here, which has not yet started being repaired. He could repair it if he so chooses to, but looks like he's going to neglect doing that for the time being. Knuschelbär still does have map control somewhat, but is not as map control, not as secure as he might have hoped to have had. You can see he's training from 2 Warhats because both rally points are in one location, and it's going to be coyote runners. So 5 from here and potentially another batch from here, and this could be quite scary for Lucas. Bear being in cover mode over here. These are not sure what they're up to at the moment. These are being good with the Explorer, so being a bit slow. Well, he did get a nice 90 XP boost, a bit slow from Lucas L99, and military rickshaw coming out, probably going to be used for a stable. Yamabushi tanking quite well. I think that Knuschelbär, I guess he's got enough coyotes running. In fact, yeah, he's got this many coyotes coming in, and that is going to be a bit troublesome to deal with. I mean, there are not enough mace here to DPS down the sentries, but I think coyote are doing a fine job by themselves. At the same time, these Puma, while part of the military unit population, are not part of the military unit population, contributing effectively to the fight. But coyote are still up against the counter, so Knuschelbär is still trading somewhat evenly, despite the defender's advantage on the minimum coming out. So the scores are quite even. 9 mace coming out on this side. Lucas still continuing to build Yumi, and I can see that he's gathering coin and starting to train the Naginata riders. I mean, Knuschelbär aging up with the Warhats has been able to use the shipments for things like 700 wood, 5 vills, before committing to this whole military unit, back-to-back military unit shipment thing. So it's not like his eco is negatively impacted by the plan he was going for, but he has not been able to kill destroy, siege down that many shrines. He was able to siege down 2 shrines earlier here, but they have been rebuilt. And all in all, things still quite even. 3 Jaguar Pearl Knights being called here for 450 food. Hard to tell what value they're going to add here. Well, they are going to scout. They're going to go into stealth mode and scout a bit, or at least kind of hide the fact that there is more anti-cav than these 4 Puma Spearmen are trying to make it seem like he has. Looking a bit dicey. No more XP boosts, and Knuschelbär did actually send Koei Combat, so Puma Spearman actually can be able to do quite a bit of damage here. Getting out to Naginata, right, and well, I mean, lots and lots of Koei coming in, and again we can see that the lack of a wall has been quite detrimental for Lucas's play over here. Was forced to take the fight there. Villagers were trying to tank, but in the end, these are not. These don't have Eastern Medicine on them, so they are going to just have that 150 HP. Not so useful for tanking. Usually, when you're rushed, you do want to get that Great Code equivalent upgrade. But well, Knuschelbär cleaning up. Villagers are going to be forced to move into TC, moving these Koei runners to the right just a bit, just to kind of mess up the pathing and kill a few extra villagers. The last villager did manage to teleport into TC before going down, and Knuschelbär just continuing to trickle in units. Looks like Lucas is going to try to go for a counter raid, maybe not after all, as I identified that he kind of needs to stay here. Let's probably have a look at the decks. Nothing that weird, nothing that unusual. Puma Spearman coming in. So, Japan does have an advantage when they build up in the TC in that they do have these shrines which are still gathering, but 21 villagers in TC not going to be effectively killing units efficiently, and there is a one warrior priest on attack dance, now going to be 4 warrior priests on attack dance pretty soon. 3 samurai coming out. You can see they're actually doing quite well at focusing down the Koei runners. And actually cleaning up quite well here because of these 3 samurai. So well done by him. But more villagers are going to go down. Lots and lots of villagers going down. You can see that he did research the XP upgrade during the fight. So each villager going down does translate to 30 XP. Lucas being a bit sloppy here. He was possibly microing his Naginata riders on the right hand side, but after cleaning up the coyotes and with the 3 samurai and blocking everything there, should probably have been a bit more careful with his villagers. I don't think he needed to lose that many villagers. In fact, if you look at units lost, 53 coyote miners, quite a few down, but at the same time 16 villagers down. 16 villagers down, which is pretty big. Masses, so we can kind of say that Knuschelbär has been quite effective at dealing damage at this point in time. Again, I think this is partly due to Lucas not abusing walls more than he could have. Normally against Aztec, you don't want to be leaving everything open like Lucas did over here. You want to be kind of putting as much up as possible to obstruct pathing from coyote runners, especially going with some kind of Yumi Nagi combo or Yumi combo in general. There is a reason that there's a good reason for why there is a Yumi wall clan. But 3 samurai actually being pretty clutch there. And Lucas does survive. More samurai coming in. And yeah, I like what Knuschelbär is doing, spreading out his houses. He's been quite diligent in doing that throughout all of his games. spreading out for line of sight and kind of map control, because map control equates to line of sight pretty much. Because knowing where your opponent's army is gives you the freedom to do whatever you want. You can choose to fight, you can choose to not fight, and looks like Lucas trying to snare here. Nope, Knuschelbär going to be able to escape. Explorer did get danced back at the fire pit, and now walking a bit here, but eventually he does get into position. Yeah, Lucas looks like Lucas. Well, I was going to say Lucas did overextend. Okay, looks like he has overextended. Yeah, so he did overextend over there, and more creative runners coming in. Attack dance has been working with a few warrior priests on there which have been danced in. And game number 5 going to Knuschelbär. Now this is generally quite an Aztec favorite matchup, and I think he was able to counter pick because Lucas did pick Civ first. So yeah, I think what Lucas could have done better is definitely, placed, if not a big wall, then maybe a small wall here and there. Would have definitely helped against all the squirrely runners. I thought he might have had a chance getting back in the game when those 3 samurai popped, but it looks like it wasn't enough. And we have a look at the villager population. Fairly even. Lucas, Eco was kind of inching ahead, but one bad fight over here, where all those Yumi were out in the open, not enough anti-cav to deal with all the goodies trickling in. I mean, Knuschelbär did kind of return the favor a bit by losing all his units to 3 samurai and the Nagipop. In the end, Knuschelbär just take the series. Sorry, not take the series, take the game. This is not a best of 5, this is a best of 7, which means we still do potentially have at least 2 more games. Well, at least, yeah, I mean, at least 1 more game, if not 2. 2 shrines right here, still up. I'll go on to the next game. Okay, so no civilizations chosen just yet, but ESOC Stay-at-Home Cup, and by virtue of it being the ESOC Stay-at-Home Cup, the loser does always get to pick their choice of map, and looks like Lucas has chosen Arkansas. I'm not sure if he's chosen Arkansas or if that's the only map he has left, and very likely is the only map he has left from his map pool. So he's already chosen Manchuria, he's also already chosen Hudson Bay. Arkansas is the final map in it. So, well, no real choice to be made there. Now, Knuschelbär does have to pick first, being the victor from the previous game. I can see he's thinking again. Serious faces on, thinking, meditating, what civ should I choose? Lucas similarly thinking about it. Okay, it's going to be Sioux, and I do believe that Knuschelbär has not yet won a game with Sioux. So it is within his right to continue playing as Sioux. And now up to Lucas to decide what he wants to choose. He cannot play Japan. Well, he can play Japan actually, because he hasn't won with Japan yet. He's played both. So Knuschelbär has played Sioux twice already, and he's lost both times with them, whereas Lucas has played Japan twice already and lost twice. So it is within his rights to stay as Japan, and Japan is just traditionally countered, Sioux, at least traditionally considered a counter civ to Sioux by quite a few people. But we shall see how this pans out. Luke is taking a while to decide what he wants to do. Looks like he's a tortoise here, not Knuschelbär. Okay, looks like going for Germany. Okay. So not going to be playing Japan, instead going for Germany. Will very likely be one of two things: either an FF or a well, semi-FF rather, or an Expo Pike Rush. Very likely can be some kind of semi-FF coming from Lucas L99, but we shall see. Now this mine is kind of the middle mine, which is just closer to the left, so it's not like someone's missing a mine, I'd say. Hunt-wise, yeah, I'm okay with this. Okay, so we have Knuschelbär against Lucas L99, Sue against Germany, and it being a 200 wood start, Lucas is going to be able to get his trading post up ASAP, whereas on the other hand, similarly, Knuschelbär, once he gets this 95 wood treasure, he's probably already going to be able to get a trading post of his own. Did start with 100 wood of his own, and gathering that up and chopping a little bit of wood has enabled him to get up his trading post ASAP, and is going to be the middle trading post. Going to deny Germany from getting a second trading post in the middle of the map if he so chooses to. And interesting that he's kiting a bit with this outlaw rifleman, trying to take out the wolf. And once coming in here, nicely done. And with that 75 wood, that's probably going to enable him to get a TP up. TP being the TP, which is the little tent TP, not the big building TP trading post. Looks like he was trying to go and kind of scout and see where the explorer was. Maybe perhaps try and steal some treasures. Now, having confirmed that the German explorer is on this right hand side of the map, probably just going to go in here and just take the nice 75 wood. No issues there. Let's turn on the fog for a second here. Germany does have Gentle Pete the Pet Bear just accompanying the explorer. Not going to be splitting them up. And Knuschelbär, going for 135 XP treasure, which is going to be, pretty good for him to get his shipment progression going in the second age, because he has already sent his first shipment by this point in the game, which has been 3 villagers, similarly to settler wagons coming out from Lucas L99. Some nice herding here with his hunts right underneath his DC. Let's have a look at the decks very briefly. Perhaps the only interesting thing in here would be that New Ways is in there, which is a bit of a late game card in that it it gives you upgrades like counter infantry rifling, cavalry cuirass, which will probably not be of too use against Germany, which does not have musketeers or anything as their main composition, or at all in fact. So counter infantry rifling not going to be too useful. However, cavalry cuirass probably going to be useful in giving that extra 10% HP boost to the dog soldiers, whatever, in the later portions of the game. Bear chasing down the rifleman. Rifleman going to go down with one slap to the face. Knuschelbär now has no more treasure guardians on the map. Okay, never mind. He's got one black bear. So Knuschelbär does have the bear still alive there. Martin here, trying to take out this treasure. Nope, not going to be able to take. Not going to be able to gather that treasure just yet. To see the Sioux Explorer, Sioux War Chief kind of posturing around the area. Knows it's not safe to take straight away. And he can also afford to have his Explorer in the northern half of the map because he did get an early TP. If it was not an early TP, then very likely the case that he wouldn't have had the freedom to be on the top half of the map, because he would have needed to build his first trading post. But as things stand, he did actually manage to get his early TP, both in fact getting the early TP. And so Knuschelbär going to be free to... maybe? What's he doing? I thought he was going to be starting to pick it up. Maybe he's waiting for his... yeah, very likely they're just waiting to get his Convert Guardian ability recharged. And Knuschelbär, you can see that from the TP, XP treasure, combination of several things, he did have 2 shipments stacked ASAP after aging up. Lucas does mark it up, and he's going to be an in-base barracks, which signifies to me some kind of semi-FF build. And this has been scouted, so either a semi-FF build or a kind of response to the fact that he did see a war hut coming up over here. I'm going to be sieging it down, or at least doing some siege damage with the Explorer and the Cherokee Rifleman. Obviously not going to achieve that much, but this is something you typically see people do at the higher levels. Just kind of use whatever Explorer and whatever other units they have to siege down a war hut in construction, or else a blockhouse in construction, because buildings in construction do in fact receive extra damage while they're being constructed. So even though, you know, by its own, an Explorer does not do that much damage. An Explorer dealing damage to a war hut or blockhouse under construction, you know, there's quite a bit. And you know, Knuschelbär, that war hut was down to around half HP, and he did have to spend maybe around 50 wood just trying to repair it back up. So well done by him to repair that. So any timing push from pikemen or crossbowmen, whatever, 8 expo or something, is not going to be successful in taking out this war hut that easily. Knuschelbär being slightly slow to react, but did back off in time. So 8 expo has come in. Not going to be a kind of not going to be the slow kind of push. Something that would qualify as a slow push is 2 Veils, 2 Slight Wagons, 3 Slight Wagons, 700 wood, and then 8 expo. But it looks like he's opted to send 8 expo first, which I'm not sure if I like, because these are kind of being idle at the moment. They're not contributing to anything at this point in time. But maybe he's going to choose to push out at this point right now, because he does know where the war hut is. It looks like he is going to push out. And he does have some cavalry here to snare. Oh, that's unlucky with the pathing there. I think he's going to have to split off some X-Riders. Yeah, well, at least one X-Rider going to be split off to let the rest escape. A pikeman did block the Ulan from just going in there and snaring the second one. And villagers just bring down two TPs, which is, you know, quite smart play. Just give these any Sioux units which fight in this area quite a lot of HP boost. And looks like yeah, pikemen being forced to stop sieging the war hut just to force off all the cav, and cav pathing around the Carl as well. Ulan, the big thing throughout all this is that the war hut has somehow managed to stay alive, and the pikemen, even though they were just very, very close to sieging down the war hut, they were called off to move down south. And as a result of that, you know, pikemen were moving around too much. Should probably have committed to sieging down the war hut instead of trying to block the X-Riders. And that turned out to be pretty big, because a batch of units came out, and a batch of 6 Ceylon bows from the shipment also came out. So in that situation, if Lucas had somehow sieged down the war hut instead of repositioning his pikemen, then that fight could have ended up pretty different. Either way, military unit population is still quite even at the moment. Some funny shenanigans going in the top left half of the map, where, I mean, you have one CDB being gathered from that treasure. So, I mean, Knuschelbär was on top of things to actually gather that up earlier on. Mr. Too Big to Fail, currently lying down the floor, lying on the ground, next to a Carl, so he'll be able to get a new horse as soon as he needs one. And it looks like Lucas is going to be trying to commit to age 2. So even though he did ship 700 coin, which typically does mean that you're trying to age up, from the looks of things, he might be trying to stay in age 2 and perhaps train Kai from there. Does it say that? Yeah, okay, so he is training Ulan. He is moving out here. He's got a lot of pikemen. Could get a bit dicey here. Yep. So there's a bit of dance going on here with Sue poking in and out. It looks like he's just going to go for the safe option, just siege down the trading post. He has kind of identified what kind of unit composition Lucas L99 has. Will not be aware just yet that there are going to be some Ulan Q coming on the way. Cav HP coming in, and we'll see if Knuschelbär makes the same mistake that he did in the previous game of overcommitting near TP. Does not look like he's going to make that same mistake over here. He's going to abuse his mobility at this point in the game. And his army by Lucas L99 is going to get scouted, and not the Ulan, still going to be kept hidden for a little while. Except this is going to be big if you can catch that. Yeah, okay, so Knuschelbär not being confident enough to fight in this location. Might be waiting for his next cav attack shipment or something. No, this is going to be okay. Just being a bit cheeky over there, picking off a few crossbow kills, maybe just one crossbow before running off. We look at units lost. No villagers lost either player just yet. Just we're running off a while, and it's going to start. Villagers going to start moving out to secure a next hunt for Lucas. This is getting a bit dangerous here. A bit dangerous, but I mean, Knuschelbär hasn't had the chance to actually commit to raiding complete at this point in time. The threat of crossbowmen and pikemen doing some kind of damage has kept him playing relatively passively, just playing it slowly, containing. Yeah, so cav damage is now coming in, and now I think if Nush wants to push in, then he can probably push in at this point in time. I like to see some of these Seaton bows build a war hut, sorry, a TP to kind of supplement. But anyway, fight going on here. Double carded Cav. Not going to be enough, it seems. Lucas is going to win this fight over here. And Ulan over here also going to be enough to kind of take out these Seaton bows. And again, similar to the game we saw earlier where Knuschelbär was playing the Sioux civilization, kind of misjudged the fight. And big swing. Big swing, and double sworders moving in as well. Like I don't know how to pronounce that. And again, this fight could have gone very differently if Knuschelbär had placed down 2 TPs or something. Because again, well, 20% HP or whatever it is right now, 50% at worst, is quite a big boost to your entire army. But regardless, he did not win that fight. Lucas does have the tempo advantage here. Lucas is in fact up 40 score now, and Knuschelbär, you know, despite picking Sioux all those times, doesn't look like he's been very successful with them. I did lose two Sioux games earlier, and now in a pretty precarious position in this game. Villagers are being forced to move out. Um, Splitting his villagers, some on this side, some on the other side, which is, what you want to do. You don't want to, put all your villagers on one side. Just makes them more susceptible to being pushed by armies. Some warriors being called to kind of scout as well as, you know, walk in a weird way. And the good thing about training warriors is that training warriors does not actually give your opponent any XP when they go down. So that's not going to contribute to Germany's shipment progression. And we can see that if Knuschelbär has anything going for him, is the fact that Lucas does not have any trading post up, which means that although Lucas did get a lot of XP from that fight, from winning that fight, um, his XP progression, his shipment progression isn't going to be as powerful as it might have been. Although, as you can see here, he did ship the shipment, and he's almost, very well on, very well on his way to his next shipment as well. So Germany power spike is going to be quite difficult for Sue to deal with, especially considering the fact that he's down 80 score. And colonial play with the Sioux has not been going so well for Knuschelbär. Fire pit was also in her forward location. So villagers over there were going to go down. I don't think Sioux has enough to contest his army at this point in time, and he doesn't really have any avenue of popping like huge groups of units either. And yeah, the GG comes in. So 3-3, coming down to the last game in this best of 7 series in the ESOC Stay-at-Home Cup. And once again, villager population, okay, but if we have a look at the military unit population graph, this is the most selling one. Quite a poor fight by Knuschelbär, and again, as Sioux, there's no real reason for you to take poor fights. You can identify whether a fight is good or bad, and you can run away or you can take the fight, or even if you take the fight, you can, place a few TPs as well during the fight, which Knuschelbär did not do. Now, perhaps Knuschelbär's fight taking judgment lacking a bit lately as a Sioux, and well, this graph just tells the whole story of this game. It was really up to the pikemen, I'd have to say. It's whether or not you have enough pikemen or not. And, well, Lucas did have enough pikemen to win the game there. Okay, I'm back and just in time to see that we have a fun or rather interesting game in store for us. So this is going to be UI Ceylon, and this is Knuschelbär's last map in his map pool. This, of course, being the Stay-at-Home Cup. And again, I would like to reiterate, if anyone has donated, thank you for your donations. They are going towards a good cause. Unfortunately, I don't have the thing set up. But rest assured, your donations are very much appreciated, even if it's not without all the fanfare which usually comes with that. So back on topic, this is UIX Ceylon, and Ceylon, one of the, rather the defining point about this map is not just the fact that you start on these two separate islands and then there's one main island which has most of the resources on. It's actually the fact that you actually start with a shipment as soon as the game begins. So that will benefit some civs disproportionately. This is very going to be going Portuguese against Lucas India, and we will have to see how that turns out. Okay. So Knuschelbär playing Portuguese against Lucas L99 as Indian civilization on everyone's favorite map, Ceylon. Lots of fish. And I will not be bothering to check the fish distribution because it's quite a bit to take in. Let's just admire the treasures on the map, which nobody will ever take. Look at that. Now, this being Ceylon, people do start with Marathon Catamaran, and that does make for some interesting strategies. But we'll have to see if either of these players actually goes for one of those interesting strategies. The interesting strategy, of course, being, for example, because these can actually train units, either being orangutan or marathon or those dacoit units. There's a shooty 90 coin Asian pirate style unit. Knuschelbär being faster to ship his explorer to the island. Lucas kind of overstaying to take the 40 coin treasure. I'm not sure if I like that because again, a coin is not really a resource which benefits your early game so much. And yeah, look, I mean, another 20 coin over here. So let's see if what they've opted there to use for the first shipment. Distributivism versus schooners, unsurprisingly, and well, again, this does not benefit Knuschelbär straight away, whereas this benefits Lucas L99 quite quickly. And it looks like Lucas L99 is going to be shipping a villager over to the main island, and I suspect that will be used to put down an Argo fort, and that is going to be quite difficult for Portuguese play to deal with, I would say. Because Argo fort does give you quite a lot of map control, and believe it or not, I did back in the day play quite a lot of Ceylon games, and the Argo fort was quite a defining factor in a lot of them. Not as close to the water as I might have liked it to be, could have been a bit closer, get a bit more map control, but either way it is going to control this kind of strait here. If you want it to be a bit more aggressive with it, you could probably have. Then again, I think you can't really build the Argo fort over there, so this was a good enough decision. Let's have a look at the decks, and this will be very interesting. We'll have a look at the Indian deck first, because nothing's too surprising there. And now, let's see. Okay, So Knuschelbär his deck is quite committed to playing on water. I'm not sure how good. Well, we shall see. Um, you have to take into consideration that there is no dock just yet, um, and that means that this Schooner's card is only going to come into effect in around 4 minutes in the game. So effectively, no real difference from if it was on a standard map with no first shipment. So Portuguese perhaps not benefiting as much as India from the early shipment. And the Wonder coming out at quite a decent time as well. Going to be aged up before 4 minutes as India, which is not something you get to do very often. Portuguese villager Knuschelbär moving it out on this side over here. Return on the fog just for a short while, and yeah, everything pretty much scouted by both players except for the water. Quartermaster is going to be the choice over here for Knuschelbär. 400 wood, of course, being very useful. I'm not sure if Lucas is going to send 2 caravels first or something. We shall have to see. But if he does send 2 caravels first and place it over here, then it's going to be quite scary. But at the same time, if he was going to send 2 caravels, then he would have replaced his water flag here, which he has not done. So this dock going to be safe for now. Both players kind of moving their catamaran onto this side. Dropping off the 2 sepoy over there to do a bit of damage, and actually potentially going to be able to kill that villager unless it runs away in time. And if it runs away in time, what it's going to do is they're probably going to go into the marathon. They're probably going to garrison on this side. So it was 5 sepoy first coming to the Agro Fort, and looks like there's going to be kind of a sepoy rush, but with nothing really to siege down just yet. But as I say that, this looks like it's going to be quite precarious for Knuschelbär. He did have that TC in the marathon, the catamaran all this whole time. Okay, so this, right? So he will be able to save this town center after all. That was probably why he was brave enough to place down the town center at that point in time. So in the end, ultimately, still going to be able to save the TC wagon, but we do have to remember that because the TC wagon was in the marathon decoy for so long, one, he was not able to make villagers from that second TC for that amount of time, and 2, he did not have the pop space on that TC, so he did ship 700 wood and use that to build enough houses and to sustain his fishing boat production. So Lucas did go for 5 sepoy and did foreign logging, and you can see that despite all that, because ports did send schooners, it does have 2 docks up and fishing boats with gill nets upgrade, which has provided 10% boost to gathering. 50 military unit population for Lucas L99, and none for Knuschelbär yet. We'll see if he decides to maybe ship 2 caravels of his own and drop them off on this side. Other than that, Knuschelbär seems to be quite confident in his ability to defend here, even being confident enough to send rendering plant and spreading out his fishing boat. Looks like that villager did survive and was able to start a new life on the eastern side of the map, northern half of the map, sorry. And got a nice house, prime property, like the beach. Wildlife not too bad, enough trees, most importantly elephants, And look, he just keeps trickling in sepoy. Perhaps he's planning to get a huge mass of them and then suddenly go for the TC over here. Who knows? We'll have to see what happens. 600 wood coming in. I'm going to be using that to start testing water. And I do fully expect that once this next shipment comes in, it's very likely going to be 2 caravels. We didn't really see any population thing go up, so unless he's shipping 600 coin or something, very likely it's going to be 2 caravels plus a 3rd caravel being trained from here. And Knuschelbär is going to, yeah, he's going to be starting to get start training caravels of his own. So he's kind of identified, okay, he's boomed enough. Now's the time to start making sure he can actually secure the water. And I doubt that Lucas has actually scouted all this on the northern half of the map. Probably still very focused on taking out on the southern half of the map. So it's very well done by Knuschelbär to actually spread out all of his docks. So the fishing boats aren't actually, you know, overfishing in one section of the map or anything. They're all being spread out, making the most they can of all the fish, the abundant mola fish and carp. So there's carp, there's mola, there's humpback whales, you know, seafood for days. See, Lucas does have his water flag over here, perhaps gearing up to start going in. 2 caravels being shipped, and now he's going to make his push. So he's got 4 caravels and going to be trying to do some damage here. There's only 3 caravels on this left side of the map, but Knuschelbär does have improved warships, so no further caravels in queue, which may be a bit difficult to deal with. But getting off that volley and actually being able to take out 1 caravel ASAP is going to be pretty nice for him. Caravels over here also buying some time, just none dying just yet. This dock is going to go down. The fishing boats, actually very nice micro by Knuschelbär, and these fishing boats also being used to kind of prevent the caravels from pursuing too far. Kind of doing a body block here. Looks like the sepoy are going to be moving up north to try and siege down the northern town center. One lone caravel here harassing the fishing boats on the right hand side, but he hasn't really scouted that there are fishing boats over here just yet. Seems to be focused on his moving warships along this strait. You see that Knuschelbär kind of edging ahead in score, 10 score ahead. House going up over here, and there's going to be a caravel here to kind of deal some damage here if the sepoy try and siege anything down. So Lucas doesn't really want to stay under that for too long. Yeah, he's going to have to move away. Villager here should garrison in. Yep, 600 coin being shipped for Lucas L99 to the Arga fort. He's got quite a few villagers on the middle island now. And basically this caravel is doing quite a lot of work. It's probably doing the work of one caravel with many cannons on it. You look at units lost. 15 sepoy lost, and probably at least 10 of those were due to caravel fire, either down here or up north. So things looking quite in favor of Knuschelbär at this point in time. It would venture to say something that Lucas could have attempted. It would have been this kind of ship these sepoy off onto the main island, because you know that Portuguese, this town center isn't in range of any boats except for perhaps the H3 boats, the frigates, And caravels won't be able to reach the set by sieging down TC, and there are quite a lot of villagers on the main island as well, so nothing being done in respect of attacking the main island, sorry, the original island, but a lot of work being done just moving all these slow land units around the map, and his movement is also being impeded by all these walls, which Knuschelbär has been setting up quite well. Another house going up here, and Lucas might be feeling a bit lost here. He is aging up, but he doesn't really have a game plan. I think he might have sensed that water is lost, and he doesn't really have any, well, he does have the cards in deck, but he hasn't actually shipped those cards, so if he wants to win the fight, yeah, he is researching armor plating, which will increase the hit points of his boats by 50%, I believe, which is going to be quite useful, but Castadors are enough to just scare away all his Sepoy, and Knuschelbär just immediately just going to wall up again. And if you think about it, Lucas L99, he's only been training from one town center, training village from one town center this whole game, and further to that, he's had to train village from the town center and then ship them over if he wanted to gather, natural resources aside from coin and wood. One villager being used here is kind of to scout, I would assume, and caravel being shipped. No armor plating being researched for Knuschelbär, and Knuschelbär is actually going up to the 4th age, which will allow him to ship factories, 2 heavy cannons, heavy fortifications, janitors. Well, Lucas is, he's aged up. He's investing into water. He's reached his cap for caravels, and yeah, okay, siege elephants are probably gonna be useful, but at this point in the game, 103 economic unit population versus 45, and nothing really being harassed at the moment. Ideally, at this point in the game, when you know that your boats are kind of inferior to the opponent, you kind of just want to move them around and raid fishing boats. You don't want to send them all in one group, because your aim is not actually to win the water fights. Your aim is to kind of make sure the fishing boats aren't gathering. So maybe one caravel here, one caravel here, one caravel here, one caravel here, and that at least does damage. Instead of this kind of thing where you have fish, you may win this fight over here, but at the same time you can see that all the superior boats are moving over to that side of the map and are going to be able to counter your caravel play. Dragoons, heavy cannons, and Sepoy here. Siege elephants are going to be around to kind of deter the heavy cannons from just having free reign for the time being. I'm not going to be finishing off that stable. Okay, it is going to be finishing off that stable after all. Did use a volley on that, and because as a result, siege elephants going to be in range of the veteran Castadors earlier, and that means that this heavy cannon is going to be able to take off a nice pot shot at the Sepoy unimpeded. Moving back here, and the walls as well. There's no wall not actually being rebuilt by Knuschelbär. But yeah, you can see 5 caravels in the group, but that's going to be shut down pretty quickly by these three boats. Again, ideally in this kind of situation, if you're behind on water, you don't want to be trying to win water by grouping all your boats together. You kind of just want to be as annoying as possible, splitting up your boats, raiding fishing ships, that kind of thing, because this evidently is not going to go well, especially when you have this big monitor using big shot on big Agra fort and actually taking out half of the HP of the Agra fort in one volley, one special attack rather. So now not looking very good for Lucas at all. 200 score to 366. Military unit population fairly even. Water fight probably lost at this point in time, and economic unit population just miles ahead for Knuschelbär. And even has shipment extra shipment to send, which he has not sent yet. So he's actually going to be stacking 2 shipments before. Yeah, okay, so he started sending his first shipment earlier. But could probably have sent his... Oh, well, maybe he's just stacking lots and lots of shipments, probably from killing all those units. So heavy fortifications coming in, and that's going to bring up his score to double the amount, and actually going to be abusing that to build a fortified outpost. And I mean, Lucas trying his best, going to try go in and kill the heavy cannons. Might kill 1 or 2, but really, there's all boats on this side of the map, providing offshore support. Fortified outposts also dealing some damage, and if you look at this, turn on the fog for a while, you can see everything, pretty much 80% of the map controlled by Knuschelbär. Lucas behind in everything, and not much he can do here. Villagers again, everything being trained from one town center, and if he wants to go into natural resources, has to ship them over to the main island. By this point in time, the main island is no longer safe. He's behind a military unit population. Perhaps one thing he does have going for him is that there are no hussars in here to kind of force fights. But really, Knuschelbär doesn't have to force any. Knuschelbär doesn't have to force any fights at this point in time. He just needs to sit back and let his eco do the talking. No eco theory being shipped either. Well, yeah, okay. So. Siege is going to go to Knuschelbär, 4-3. So well played to Knuschelbär. Lucas perhaps not being so used to the kind of play that might be effective on Ceylon. Don't think he really had that much of a plan here. If you're fighting against water, you usually need to have a plan, and he had a rough plan, but that rough plan of contesting water with caravels and sepoy on the main island didn't work out so well. Again, I think Lucas's best shot over here would have been to send that sepoy mass and siege down this TC. Would have been able to take out the TC, maybe a few villagers. I'm sure quite a few of them would escape to the boats waiting nearby, and would have been able to take out houses. And then you could just ship the sepoy back onto the main island and other things. At the same time, he was losing water, he wasn't really contesting water effectively, and you really do need to contest water effectively on what is essentially a map which is 50% water. Villager population just way ahead for Knuschelbär. Lucas only training from 1 TC. Military unit population, again, always ahead for Lucas, but always being forced to fight, or rather taking fights which were near the coast, but for example near this TC, and always within range of all these boats, which were upgraded, and some pretty nice micro by Knuschelbär over here as well, sieging, using the special attack of the caravels to take out caravels from Lucas L99 without actually losing any caravels of his own. And once that happened, I think Lucas kind of lost whatever grip he had on the water control, whatever semblance of control he had over the water. And yeah, could have used them more effectively if they were split out and raiding fishing boats, but realistically he was never going to be able to win water against ports. Needed to make something happen soon, and eventually was not able to make enough happen before ports eco kicked in and just won the game for Knuschelbär. So that will conclude the series for the ESOC Stay-at-Home Cup. Knuschelbär will proceed to I believe it's the semi-finals, because this was the round of 8, where he will face off against someone.